It's time to break out the cape today. Today is National Superhero Day. The national holiday honors superheroes, both real and fictional. That includes our military members, police officers, and firefighters who protect us every day. So if you see a superhero today, be sure maybe to give a hug and say thank you. So that brings us to this morning's instant reaction poll. What would be your superpower? That's a good one, right?
You go first.
I don't know. I posted it earlier. I was like, I don't know. I don't want to know the future because then that ruins life. Like if you know what's going to happen, what's the point of living every day?
Okay.
But then if you read people's mind, you kind of know the future. So I don't want that one. I do not need to fly. Crystal, you want to fly? See, a lot of people like to fly.
Yeah, that would be great.
What's yours?
Control the weather, of course.
Oh, duh! I love that you did this.
Really make it rain. No, like if there's fires, put out the fires with like rain. If there's a drought, bring some rain over there.
That's
so
good,
yeah, I'm trying to be God.
That's good. With the weather, that's okay though. I think people appreciate that. I love this one on Twitter because of course I asked on Twitter what people say. And John says, to be able to read my wife's mind so I don't get in trouble so much. Trust me, it's definitely a superpower to have. A lot of people talk about that, how women expect you to read their minds and men just are like, say what you mean and then mean what you say.
Men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Yep, it's true. Sometimes we speak different languages. All right, things are only getting worse. We're talking E. coli cases tied to romaine lettuce. What you need to know before you dig into your lunchtime salad. Well, more people have become infected with E. coli after eating romaine lettuce. The CDC says 14 more people have become sick, bringing the total number up to 28 people in 22 states. Officials say the strain is connected to lettuce grown out of Yuma, Arizona. We still don't know which specific farm is responsible for that outbreak. Welcome back. You're watching Good Day Weekend. I'm Lauren Johnson. Listen to this. Do you have an appreciation for beautiful bodies? If you do, there is an event in our city this weekend. So we're going to take you to the Fit Expo in Center City. You got to tweet Jenny Joyce with your visual request. You want some abs, some legs, some backs? She gets to see all of that this morning, and she's going to share it with us later in the show. Goddard. I got to get that last name right since he's an Eagle now. All right, you're taking a live look at the French Manor on this Saturday morning, 7:39 a.m. Real hazy. The sun's trying to come up, and Scott will have more on your weather in just a second. But speaking of warmer temperatures, more and more kids will hit the pavement thanks to a Bucks County bike shop. But for two people, this shop means much more than a joyride. Fox 29 photojournalist Bill Rohr explains. It's hard to see the art museum there off in the distance because of the fog.
The sunshine will reappear though.
Okay, that's the good news. This story is wild, but I love it. So a woman travels overseas for business. She sort of thought that she got food poisoning. You know, sometimes you eat in airports, you eat out at places and you're like, oh, this doesn't sit well on my stomach.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out she was in labor. So she decided, I need to go to Google to figure out what to do.
Wow. So
Tia Freeman is her name. She says she started feeling something just wasn't right on her flight. She was headed to Turkey. So when she landed, she thought, maybe I'm in labor. Maybe this isn't food poisoning. So she Googled how to tell if you're in labor. She went to her hotel. She realized, yes, I am having a baby. But she was afraid that the hospital wouldn't take her insurance. And you know how much those bills can be, Scott. She turned to the internet again and said how to deliver a baby.
Bless her heart.
Well, it's a first for Philadelphia mob boss Joey Merlino pleading guilty to a crime. Only Fox 29 cameras were there as Merlino walked out of the federal courthouse in Manhattan yesterday. He pled guilty to a single gambling charge to avoid a retrial in a racketeering case that ended with a hung jury in February. The 56-year-old will be sentenced in mid-September. He now faces up to 2 years in prison. History is made on the Korean Peninsula. Dictator Kim Jong-un walking right across the border into South Korea, shaking hands with their president. The two leaders vowing to work towards removing nuclear weapons and ending the decades-long Korean War. The summit setting the stage for a potential meeting with President Trump and Kim Jong-un. President Trump praising the country's efforts, calling it a major victory. The first lawsuit has been filed against Southwest Airlines after an engine exploded, killing one passenger. Flight 1380 made an emergency landing at the Philadelphia International Airport last Tuesday. Officials say the engine blew apart, shattering a window. Jennifer Reardon was partially sucked out of that window, and she later died from her injuries. The passenger who filed the suit claims she has suffered post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, and other personal injuries. Right now, the NTSB is still investigating. A South Jersey mother wins a court battle to keep her son on life support after he was critically injured when their home caught fire. Well, the Eagles picked up a new tight end in the second round of the NFL draft, Dallas Goedert of South Dakota State. The announcement made by former Eagles kicker David Akers. It was pretty comical and sarcastic.
It was.
If you're a Cowboys fan, take a listen. Let's take a live look outside Wildwood. Whew, super foggy out there. But Scott says, give it a chance. The weather will shape up to be beautiful on this Saturday. And no one likes to hear boo. Not even an athlete. But as Bruce Gordon explains, if you're playing in Philadelphia and you're not playing well, it's just something that happens only in Philly. She was able to get an emergency passport for him, and then when he was 2 weeks old, they flew back home.
She just seems so calm.
Super calm.
Shoelaces, some scissors.
And
Google it.
I know, a pocket knife. She does seem, I don't know how she did that. Amazing, amazing. But what a great story to tell him about being born, right? Yeah. She did it all by herself.
One of his middle name is Google.
Right, Xavier Google. Do you want a dog to play with for a few hours, not to keep forever? A new program at the Camden County Animal Shelter lets volunteers spend up to 3 hours every day with rescued pets looking for a permanent home. It's called Rent a Dog. Renters can take the dogs on a hike, for a nice walk in the park, or just cuddle and hang out on their lunch break. The shelter's goal is to give the dogs time outside the shelter and hopefully get them adopted. They know exactly what they're doing, because 3 hours into a little date with the dog,
you're attached.
You're attached. That's what happened to me. I went to a shelter to hang out with Diamond outside, and I left with her in my car.
How is Diamond?
She's good. She got a bath yesterday, and she got a new dress.
You got to bring her in again.
Okay,
she
tomorrow.
hasn't been in the studio.
I'll bring her tomorrow. She thinks she's real cute. I'll bring her tomorrow. Good day, everyone. It's April 28th, 2018. Not a good day in the allergy department. Jenny Joyce is suffering. Scott and I were chatting about it. Scott said he took Sudafed D. I said, what's the D stand for?
Claritin.
Oh, Claritin D. What's the D stand for, Scott? Decongestant.
I think it does, right?
We were wondering the best allergy medication. So I was telling Scott I used to take Xyzal, which it was before it was over the counter, Xyzal. It helped me, and I didn't ever get drowsy, so I love that one. But everybody has their pick of what works.
We'll take your allergy meds today because we're dealing with oak, birch, maple in the high category, and we're also in a fog early on this Saturday morning.
In Chester County, 2 new signs are up over Route 100 reminding drivers to merge with mercy. The reminder is in honor of an 18-year-old whose life was cut short tragically. Police say a man shot Bianca Roberson in a road rage incident, killing her as they both tried to merge into the same lane last summer. Our Shawnette Wilson shares how much these simple signs mean to her heartbroken mother. The Eagles picked up a new tight end in the second round of the NFL draft. Dallas, we don't know how to pronounce his name just yet. Goedert, I don't know. We'll find out soon.
Dallas.
He's of Dallas is all I need to call him. South Dakota State. The announcement made by former Eagles kicker David Akers was comical and sarcastic if you're a Cowboys fan.
Tonight, I'm representing the Philadelphia Eagles, NFC East champs, divisional champs, NFC champs, and world champs. The world champs. Hey, Dallas, the last time you were in the Super Bowl, these draft picks weren't born.
The Eagles said Goddard, I don't know. He's the type of guy they would have drafted with their first round pick. They like his size, his speed. Eitan Shander here with more from 97.5 The Fanatic. First of all, you think that speech outdoes Jason Kelce's Super Bowl
Absolutely.
speech?
That is the new #1 speech, right? David Akers has raised the bar for speeches given. He was the villain in Dallas. He let everybody know, the world know, Super Bowl champions. He started with the division, the conference, Super Bowl champions. And you said it while we were listening to this, Lauren. He didn't stop. He was getting booed and booed. The moment of theater, that was as close to a WWE moment that you'll find in sports. And it was fantastic. Akers and then Kelce for me. No knock on Jason, but
Kristen said yesterday she still likes Kelsey, but Akers is a real close second.
It was the trolling element for me
Yeah.
that bumps Akers just a little bit higher than Jason. Because Jason was talking to us.
Yeah.
And he was reinforcing what we already knew.
Right.
But this one was a shot at Dallas. How could you not? And now we have something positive to associate with Dallas.
I know.
A
It's
tight
very
end.
true. Dallas in Dallas. Talk about that. I was reading an article and you and I were talking about it. SB Nation says we get an A for drafting Dallas. Tell us why.
I agree. Well, here's the thing. When you win a Super Bowl and you're in the back end of the draft, it's very rare that you have a glaring need. And I think a lot of people looked at the tight end position and thought, well, Zach Ertz is there. He's one of the best tight ends in football, which he is. But you forget that they lost two other guys in
Right.
Selleck and Burton. They had a need at tight end. You can see it right here on film. It doesn't lie. This kid can catch anything thrown at him. He's going to be a Zach Ertz clone. To have two guys like that on the field at the same time for Carson Wentz, or Zach's played banged up at times.
Right.
To have somebody that can step in and you don't miss much, it was a gigantic pick. It was a huge pick. They moved out of the first round to get him. I love it. Howie Roseman, Joe Douglas, these guys know what they're doing.
Howie even said this about their new guy. Check this out.
When you make your head coach wait 49 picks for the first player, it's nice to make him happy a little bit. And I just know, seeing his reaction when we made that trade and the excitement of the things he can do, that makes us, in what we do, really, excited to get a guy like this.
Oh, look at that size on him,
I know,
too.
he's
He's
big.
huge.
All right, well, go Eagles. Real quick, Sixers find out tonight who they play next.
Correct. My favorite superhero has always been Joel Embiid.
Who do you want to see them play? Have I asked you this already? Is it?
Well, we talked a little bit about this with Sean and I
yeah.
last week. Here's the reality of it, and it came clear to me on Thursday night. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Neither the Celtics nor the Bucks have enough talent to beat the Sixers. Now, there are other things that happen in the playoffs, but it doesn't matter. So when all things are equal, give me Boston.
Give you
I want to
Boston.
hand another loss to that city.
I like
First
that.
the Super Bowl, now knock them out of the playoffs.
But we won't have home court advantage.
Who
if we have it.
cares?
All right.
Wouldn't it be better to knock them out of the playoffs up in Boston?
I agree.
See?
I agree. I like
I
that.
knew you had a mean
like the way
streak in
you
you.
think. All right, coming up, it's almost time for Breakfast with Bob. We're going to take you to Montgomery County next.